Yeah, I like this video. Why do some of these higher level spiritual beings act crazy? You see? Because it's fun. This is the main thing. But here's the difference. You have conscious crazy and unconscious crazy. It makes all the difference in the world. When you're conscious, a person that's free inside, you're aware of, you can say, all your aspects that you have as the self manifesting through this human form. It's multi-aspected. It's not just this, namaste. Yeah, it's not like that. There's colors and variety of aspects. And so these beings who are really free, man, they just don't care in a good way. They just, it's like they don't care. They know the people that are really drawn to them and know them deeply, it doesn't matter. So the rest of the population, they just enjoy playing around a little bit. Osho did. Gurdjieff, I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Because like, what else are you going to do? You're in a world where everybody's pretty much just delusional to some degree. They're living through concepts. Their whole life is like through a concept and all these formalities and conditioning. So it's like it gets old after a while. I growing up, it was like, because my dad died when I was 12, and so I was like with my mom and my grandma, and I mean, man, they just we weren't very compatible or synergized. And so I would just play. I went to Clownland. That's what I call it. I go to Clownland all the time. Everywhere. At home, at work, at school, everywhere. Because I just wasn't, I couldn't take what they're doing serious. The military also. This is what kept me sane. Consciousness was gave me this expression, Clownland expression, to keep me sane. Otherwise, I wouldn't. How could I cope? I would have been locked up or on meds or something. They're not meds; they're pills. Ayahuasca or San Pedro is more of a medicine. I know the difference between medicine and drugs. So you become aware of this kind of. It depends on your archetype also. Some are just. They belong to a Joker archetype. You can't help it. There's different archetypes. So you become aware of this funny aspect of the self, which, if it's kind of a dark humor, then some can interpret that as like you're a little crazy, you're a little insane, but you're not, and you're self-contained enough to where you don't need them to think a certain way about you. In fact, you enjoy something. Enjoys. They're like your audience. So you do your little thing, and you already know how they're going to act. But they think like you don't know. You're like really believe what you're doing. Even you tell them, you're like, look, man, I'm acting. Like I already know. Like when I do these little things, I already know that you're going to interpret them as weird. That's why I'm doing them. If you didn't think they were weird, I probably wouldn't do it. So, you're my audience. This is why I'm doing it. So see, the higher beings, they enjoy that. Because they're too caught up in their projection of how they think somebody else is going to interpret them in their actions. So they can never come to a true inner freedom. Because they just care too much what people think. Their relationship is with humans. It's not with the true self inside. When your relationship is with your true self, then you start to really recognize that saying, God and I are a majority. When God and you are a majority, it's like you have a creative license now to play a bit. So that's the difference between being conscious crazy and just you're unconsciously crazy. Unconscious meaning you're just impulsive. You're just crazy and you think like it's sane. Just watch the news. Yeah, that'll give you a good example. All right, I wrote. This is kind of a big topic, so I don't want to miss stuff. Also, you see, these beings, they know there's never any perfection in the human self. Never. They know that. Like, they can't. There's always going to be idiosyncrasies and little shortcomings and things like that. They know that. So what do? They capitalize on it. They make a mistake, they'll make it a big deal. The average person makes a mistake, and in front of people, they're like, oh no, sorry, you know. Whereas a being who's free, they're like, damn, you want me to do that again? That was kind of fun. They can't feel embarrassed. Embarrassment comes from your worry or idea of what somebody else thinks about you. When you're free inside, you don't have that, especially if your whole life you've been different and you're just used to it. You're just used to people not getting you. So then you've turned it into like some alchemy took place. Now you've turned that into like some theater show for yourself. All right. I had a girl do this to me once. That's why, man, I don't like being on a pedestal. Of course, you can't help that. Some people are going to put you on a pedestal. Nothing you can do about it. Well, you can knock yourself off. I like knocking myself off because you know what'll happen? It weeds out those, like I was sharing at the beginning, who don't really know you or get you. They're relating to you from a projection in their mind as opposed to direct relation. So then if they're relating to you from a projection, then you do some things that don't fit into their mental projection that they can't understand because you're doing some paradoxical, unconventional stuff that's fun. Then they're gonna like write you off, and you want them to. It's like good, okay, good, yeah, thank you. Yeah. You enjoy your space, you know. So there's been like gurus, spiritual teachers, where the students or devotees, they go to their, I don't know, retreat center or house, they stay there for a bit, and then they leave, and then you see them, and you're like, oh, how was that? Oh no, he's fake, man. He's not the real deal. Really? But I feel an energetic transmission, like him. Yeah, but no, he does this and he does that, and he yelled at a disciple, and there's a bunch of little stories here. I don't know if I want to get into it because I don't know who's listening, but they start making up stuff. No, for them, they're not making it up. They feel that's their direct experience of what happened. But if I'm there, I would have had a different experience for sure. I might, depends on your level of depth of what you can see, of how you perceive. We can only perceive according to our current state of consciousness. So the guru could do something, and certain people are going to perceive it as like negative or, you know, not awake. Or somebody else, they'll see like, no, this was actually the right thing to do on a practical level. Another thing that happens, all right, look, life is duality. I gave that side, now the other side is this though. It's amazing what the mind can do. There was a guru back in the day, he got into a bunch of trouble. This always happens almost with girls, you know, and accused for having sex with them and all this, and yeah, it looked like there was a lot of proof, so they locked him up. And so then there was a forum that was talking about that, and people were like, damn, why did he do that? You know, how did he do that? Obviously it was hidden karma inside him. It's like the guy from Brazil, the guru from India went to Brazil and was doing ayahuasca ceremonies, and then he got in trouble for a similar thing, having sex with the girls when they're doing medicine, taking advantage and all that. And when they called him out on it, or when they were questioning him about that, he basically said, look, my bad. this was in me. Like I didn't, the karma came out. Yeah, at least he admitted it. See, I respect that. So anyway, they're on this forum and they were talking about this other guru that got charged with these things. And then I remember there was a girl that wrote and said, no, you guys don't understand. He's a very high level guru. So what he's doing is he sees that the only way he can give this girl a shift in consciousness or wake her up is via sexual intercourse. That's the only way. And so he loves his students so much, he's willing to do that, even at the risk of getting caught, getting locked up. This is the justification that the mind can come up with. So I'm not saying to do that. Now, at the same time, can that be true though? If a being has some sexual karma that's really strong, can the teacher or guru help satisfy that so that she can transcend it? Yeah. But those are rare cases. He's not going to be doing it with several girls. Damn, that's a mess. Even with one girl's, I don't know. I'm not going to do it. So let me look at my notes. Yeah. Gurdjieff. You know me with names. I'm not so good at it. So he got drunk. He was on the subway. He had a main disciple. His main person. This guy was super stuck in his mind though. And Gurdjieff was joker, like total joker, Not all the time. It's not like you joke 100%, but I'm saying like some have that aspect very strongly. You hear that, dog? So he got drunk on he was always doing radical things to shake this guy up. Because this guy, he was just very technical and book type person, makes his notes and everything. And Gurdjieff was trying to shake him up. So he got drunk once on the subway. He started throwing things out of the window, the train. It was on a train. He's acting drunk, but inside he wasn't drunk, and he wanted to make it look like he was throwing other people's belongings out the window, but really it was his. This is how the story goes. So his disciple got all confused and everything. Gurdjieff liked it. And then the last thing with that disciple, he tortured this guy. He's torturing his ego, the identity is what he did. But the mind was so identified with the ego that the disciple experienced it as torture. But the last thing, this guy, I'm paraphrasing, the disciple was like, they were in a different country or town. The disciple was busy with some work. Gurdjieff says, you have to come immediately. It's very important. You have to come like right now and leave what you're doing. And the disciple says, yeah, okay, damn it. And so then he went, traveled, did everything, and then Gurdjieff, either he didn't show up, or he said, nah, you can go home. It's okay. I was just kidding. I was just playing with you. Like, you know me, I like to mess around. And the disciple cracked, but he cracked in the wrong way. He cracked, and he didn't want anything to do with Gurdjieff anymore. And then Gurdjieff later says, this stupid fool, this was his last lesson. If he would have let that crack, his mind and ego, he'd have been free, you see. So this is what happens, And Osho did the same things, because actually they're checking, it's not like their intent, this is flowing. This is just flowing like that. So then when they articulate it, sometimes people think, oh, so they made this strategy. No, they're not doing anything. This is what's happening. But if you want an explanation, then they'll give you an explanation. But just because they give you an explanation doesn't mean that they've strategized this. You're asking for an explanation, they're telling you. A lot of times I'll see something, and then I'll ask somebody, I'll say, do you see like this, that? He says, oh, I don't want to think about that so much. I said, I'm not thinking at all, man. I just see it. They think I'm thinking because for them, they would be thinking. They don't know what direct perception is. So a lot of these, like Osho and Gurdjieff, they're weeding out those who aren't really one with them, who aren't really with them, who aren't part of their, you can say, chapter, this life story that the guru's living. They're only interested in their real people. The rest, it's like they don't have time because they don't care. They're not a collective guru. They're not trying to collect a bunch of numbers. They're more individual guru. So they want to weed those people out, and this is how the universe weeds them out, by doing sometimes funny things. But for the disciples, it's not funny. So I like those kind of stories. All right, have a good day.